Okay, so in my last video, I talked about Pearl's mismanagement of her divorce documentary project, which has been ongoing for over 2 years. Specifically, I asked a lot of questions like, what is the documentary actually about? What country will it be based in? How long is it? When will it actually come out? Will it actually come out? How long can she use the promise of this documentary to shill to her audience in the form of subscriptions to her website and GoFundMe donations without delivering a final product until we can consider it a scam? Pearl previously stated the documentary would be coming out on Mother's Day.
We have a divorce documentary. We want to get this documentary out by Mother's Day.
Mother's Day came and went with no news from Pearl. I had begun to once again lose hope of this documentary coming out until I get this comment from Vash98980 saying, well, she just dropped the trailer. This aged like milk. Well, Vash, I have to agree with one thing in this comment. I do think one aspect of my video aged poorly, and that is the fact that I opined that Pearl's mismanagement of the documentary, specifically her constant shilling with no end product in sight, was due to incompetence and not on purpose. After watching this trailer, I'm leaning more towards the latter. So let's review this trailer together and talk about what new information we have.
What up, guys? So the time has come where we are finally doing this divorce documentary. It's by far the biggest and most ambitious project I've ever embarked on, and I need your help. For every $1 you donate, you could potentially save an innocent man from losing hundreds of thousands in child support payments. Do you have a message that you want to send to your ex-wife that you didn't get out in the divorce proceedings? Well, for $20,000, we'll include it in the documentary, a video message to your ex-wife. And if we raise $500,000, we actually can finish this documentary. If we raise $1 million, we can make it a Netflix-level documentary.
At the time of me making my last video, she was making $88,000 a year through her annual website memberships alone. And her yearly memberships have increased in price from $88 a year to $99 a year, which she timed with the release of the documentary trailer. I also emphasize that even though she's demonetized, she can still get super chats on her channel, as well as donations through money transfer apps such as Cash App, and it does seem that she is monetized on X. At the time of me making my video, she had raised about $12,000 with a goal of $100,000 on her GoFundMe, and she made it abundantly clear about 2 months ago that she would be able to finish the documentary for $100,000.
We're also looking for investors. We need to raise about $100,000 more total. Thank you guys for all the donations. We've been able to take those donations and make a really killer trailer and good base to the documentary. However, people do have to get paid. So we are crowdfunding, and the link to that is also in the description.
She's updated the GoFundMe to be $1 million, and she hasn't updated the description. The typo is still there. So what will the $1 million be used for? What's changed since 2 months ago? That means the costs for the documentary have increased tenfold. After spending 2 years on production and struggling to fundraise, shouldn't now be the time to be reducing the costs? I'm still lost on what the original $100,000 would have been used for. Now she's asking for $1 million? Regardless, somehow she's managed to increase her GoFundMe to $20,000. I cannot emphasize this enough. This is an interview-based documentary of unknown length. Camera A is on Pearl, camera B is on the interviewee, camera C has both in the shot, you cut back and forth. $1 million? Have you lost your mind? I have a theory that maybe some or most of these funds may be used for her general production costs since she's demonetized rather than the documentary, but I talked about this in length and gave my evidence and explanation in my last video, so I won't get into it here. A new theory I've been thinking about is that this is a "f you" quote. Now, a "f you" quote is most often talked about in the context of tradespeople. Say you have a general contractor and instead of saying no to a job they don't want to do, they'll give a quote that's so ridiculously high that the person will say no. I think it's within the realm of possibilities that this is what Pearl is doing here. She may be setting the bar way higher than she thinks will ever be achieved, so that when the fundraiser doesn't reach that amount, she has an excuse as to why the documentary was never made, or why it's so poor quality, and it's no longer her fault. What else can we learn from the trailer?
Young men have fallen faster than any demographic in America over the last 40 years.
It's a different world now. Like, we don't need men the way that they used to.
Nobody needs men!
The future is female.
Men and women are drifting further apart, and society is crumbling because of it.
Almost the entire trailer consists of a series of clips off of social media and the news about men's struggles. We don't hear the word divorce until almost 1.5 minutes in. We make it through 20% of the 5-minute trailer, not counting her speaking to the camera at the end, before we hear what the documentary is actually about. The word divorce isn't even in the title. The word divorce is only mentioned in the transcript 4 times. The parts of the trailer which actually show Pearl interviewing someone for the documentary and not an already existing clip off of social media. Are you guys ready for this? 20 seconds show what I assume to be the main content of the documentary. I know that she switched teams and everything, but genuinely, what took so long? The vast majority of these clips are pre-existing. So, either Pearl's done a very poor job at communicating what this documentary is actually about, divorce, or Pearl's made a generic documentary about men's issues as a whole. In my last video, I highlighted the lack of information and communication about the documentary, which has clearly continued. One of my specific questions from my last video was, what country will the documentary be based in? Again, please go watch my first video for more details, but essentially, different countries have different divorce laws. These different laws will affect men differently, and so to be able to really get into the nitty-gritty of why divorce law is biased against men, as Pearl claims, it would be wise to focus on a specific country so you could get the adequate level of detail required to make something constructive. Well, there's nothing explicit in the trailer to help us with this, but I did notice that the men she was interviewing clearly had different accents.
I didn't meet my son until he was 15 months old.
How much did you spend trying to get him back?
On legal fees alone was about $200,000.
Before you know it, you're homeless. You're literally just thrown out onto the street.
Now, it's possible that all these men are based in one country. People with accents move countries all the time. I did notice that this man is wearing a shirt to plug his electrical solutions company, which I find a bit funny. But what he actually did is give us a really good clue that he is actually based in the UK and not the US. So unless all the other men in the documentary moved to the UK, got married, and then got divorced, the documentary has no specific country focus at all. The clips used throughout the trailer seem to be US focused as well. Again, in my last video, I talked about why I don't think a documentary on divorce generally as a concept rather than a specific divorce regime would make an effective documentary, so please just go watch that video. But what I didn't consider was that the documentary wouldn't have a focus on divorce at all. It seems that there's not only no focus on one specific country, it may not even focus on divorce at all, just every single men's issue ever for an undisclosed amount of time. Now give me $1 million. I think my criticisms now apply to an even higher degree. It will be extremely difficult to make a coherent and constructive documentary with such a wide topic. She's spoken at length about working with the team who helped Matt Walsh on his documentary, What is a Woman? Right there, just based on the title, we know exactly what the documentary is about, and it spends the whole time answering this very specific question. It's clear that she's hoping to replicate this documentary's infamy, even down to the format of the title of the documentary. So far, she's had very limited success. This trailer actually reads more like a commentary video intro than a documentary trailer. The most editing work we see here are screenshots of news articles at an angle with a little movement to them. This is really basic editing, and I don't see this costing more than a few $100 with a professional editor, not the thousands of dollars she was telling her audience. In conclusion, Vash98980, I have to disagree with you. I think my video aged like fine wine. Just when you think she's done asking for money and she's finally ready to put out the documentary, she raises the bar and asks for more money. So, Vash98980, tell me, how long can she use the promise of this documentary to shill to her audience? without delivering a final product until we can call it a scam. 2 years? 3 years? 5 years? How shitty would the documentary have to be for us to consider it a scam? Seriously though, thank you to everyone who commented and subscribed on my last video, including you, Vash. I will be doing a commenter and subscriber of the video, so please make sure to comment, like, and subscribe to be featured at the end of my next video. I heart and reply to every single comment. This video's featured commenter is obviously Vash98980, and this video's subscriber is 5string Sam. Thank you, 5string Sam, for supporting the channel. This was not supposed to be the part 2 to my last video. I wasn't expecting her to put anything out, but as soon as I saw the trailer, I knew what I had to do. So now you can actually expect a part 3 coming soon. Bye-bye.
Right? Everyone wants to get paid. You can hire, then we can hire everyone, you know, we got payroll here. The lights on, the electric bill.
Help me keep a roof above my head and lights on in the Xander Hall studio.